Governor Asa Hutchinson's weekly COVID-19 press conference looked different today. It was completely virtual with no other people besides the governor in the room. That's because the governor was potentially exposed to someone who later tested positive for COVID-19. 5 News reporter Veronica Ortega has the latest.
For the first time since he started providing COVID-19 updates, no one was allowed inside the room with Governor Asa Hutchinson. He says some individuals at a meeting he recently attended have tested positive for the coronavirus.
The meeting did not rise to the level of CDC quarantine guidance. Out of abundance of caution, I will be limiting my meetings in order to make sure that we don't inadvertently expose anyone.
On Monday, the governor toured the state campaigning for issue 1 on the ballot, aware of his potential exposure to the virus.
There was a distancing of over 6 feet. There was no close contact. And there were other issues surrounding the interaction that raised the possibility of exposure.
Hutchinson says he was tested Monday and those results came back negative. He plans to get tested twice more this week and limit his interactions and public appearances. On the heels of the governor's announcement, we've confirmed 3 state lawmakers, including 1 senator and 2 representatives, have tested positive for COVID-19. Senator Terry Rice of Waldron, District 9, has given his permission to release his name. With Arkansas surpassing the 100,000 threshold of cases today, the state's top health official once again warning people to follow recommended CDC guidelines.
We need to have at least 50% of the population use the mask and use these guidelines consistently in order to see a decrease in the number of cases that we report each day.
In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Veronica Ortega, 5 News.